Hello, everybody. Welcome to Real Talk. We're glad you can join us tonight. We have another amazing show for you. It seems like I say that every week, but it's true. Tonight's show is Living Fat, Did I Get a Life Sentence? And we're going to talk about just living life as a fat person or overweight or obese or whatever term you want to use. I know fat is offensive to some people, but realistically, that's a word that's used by a lot of people. Whether they are fat, they're not, whatever. A lot of people use that term. So through this show tonight, we'll all be using the term that we feel most comfortable with. If I use the word fat, I don't say it to offend anybody. It's just a term that's used that's well out there. So, and that is the topic tonight, living fat. So did I get a life sentence? Tonight, all the regular cast is here. Alicia is here, Zen's here, Pam's here, so I'm here. So we have an exciting show for you guys. If you want to weigh in with your feelings on anything during the show, you can go ahead and do that in the comment section. If you have a question, feel free to send that in to us via the comment section, and we'll be glad to get that out on the air. Let's start the show off with this. I want to ask you guys, do you feel you have a life sentence, or what do you feel your sentence is, if any, when it comes to being fat, obese, morbidly obese, overweight, whatever term you want to use, please feel comfortable too. This is a show that's basically geared towards adults, and there may be some discussion in tonight's show that may not be appropriate for younger viewers. So I'm just putting that out there right now. Let's start with Pam. Pam, where do you feel you're at with living fat, or whatever term you want to use, and your sentence? What do you think you have?
Well, you know, the whole, like, you did the crime, you do the time kind of thing. Like, I did the crime. I got myself this way. But I don't feel like it's a life sentence. I feel like I just have to, you know, take the necessary steps for me to get myself back to being healthy. But I refer to myself as having fat, but not being fat, because, like, I am myself, my own person, but I just happen to have fat on my body and whatnot. But, yeah, I know that I won't be this way forever.
Awesome. And if you keep working and heading towards all the goals that you talk about and stuff like that, I have no doubt about that whatsoever. So that's awesome to hear. What about you, Zen?
Well, there are times that I've definitely thought that I've had a life sentence in my life. And, you know, as of 3 years ago, I felt that I had a new chance. And I still feel that way. Even though I haven't gotten to where I want to be, my final goal, I feel like that maybe my body is sentenced, as so to say, to be fat, but I don't have to accept that. I don't have to let it be that way. So even though, you know, I have that predisposition to gain, I don't have to accept that. I can fight it. And that's what I plan to do.
Awesome.
Continue fighting.
And you are fighting, that's for sure. Anybody that watches your channel knows you're dedicated to your fitness, to your eating, and all of the above. Miss Beautiful Alicia, what about you? What do you think your sentence is?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I'm fluffy and fabulous today. So, you know, I have always been, I feel like I've always been fat or fluffy or whatever. And, like, I don't know, I don't remember what it's like to be someone who feels like of normal size, whatever that is. Like, it's hard because I don't really like to say normal size because, like, what is the normal size? But I don't feel like I have gotten a life sentence, you know? I really don't. Like, I'm used to always being big. So for me, it's not really, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, you know, what has happened to me? I actually feel a lot better because I'm like, I'm not that super morbidly obese person that I used to be. So I don't feel like I got a life sentence.
I think that's good, and I think it all does have to do with the mind and where we're at, because there's been times where, you know, I thought that I got a life sentence because I started battling bulimia as a teenager and dealt with that, and then lived what I call normalcy for a good many years. and was able to maintain a set weight, and then everything just went crazy, and then I went to the obese. And so it's been constant, for me, it's been a constant battle. And I don't think for like food addiction and stuff like that, I don't think there's a cure. Okay, that's my personal belief. I believe that you can find a way to manage it and control it, but I don't think that there is a cure out there for people with eating disorders and stuff. And that's just my personal opinion, having lived it for many, many years. But I will say I do feel like sometimes I feel like I've got a life sentence, and then when I get on this track and I'm doing so good and everything, I feel like, oh, I'm up for parole. And I go in front of, I'm doing good, I got like all this weight off in this many months, and I'm in front of that parole board, and then all of a sudden something slips, and I just start gaining my weight back, and so parole denied, so to say, right, to use the term. I don't know. I think there will come a day in my life where I am at a content weight, and I'm where I want to be health-wise, but I do think it's going to be a big struggle for me still moving forward, and I think I'm going to have a lot of challenges, and I think I'm going to have some more denied parole, so to say, and so I just think I think it's a struggle for so many people. But having talked about living life fat, I think we need to go into not just as a sentence, but what do we deal with as living life fat? What are some of the challenges that we've had? What are some of the things that we've heard people say about us? Being felt left out or discriminated against. I think we should share some of those and ask the viewers to share them, and then feed off of those and go in whatever direction we do. Let's start with Alicia. Alicia, no secret, you're obviously the biggest person on the panel and always have been, at least from the people that are here. And you may have suffered more discrimination than some of us, but just because you are the largest doesn't necessarily mean that you have received the most, because the discrimination can come at any time. But I really want to hear what you have to say about this and your feelings on it.
Well, I feel like just walking outside. I mean, I've had an issue pretty much from what I can remember, my whole adult life, which hasn't been that long since I'm only 20 times 2. But but just walking outside, like I always remember just stepping outside my door. It's like I prepare myself for the things that people say. I've heard people say, they don't even know me, but they look at me, and I must be, I do nothing but sit around and eat all day. I'm lazy. I smell. People don't want to get near you because you must stink, and it's really hard when people don't really get to know you, the person you are. I mean, I think that I'm a great person, and I just think that people haven't wanted to get to know the person that I am, and I think that's part of the reason why I do have like this, I try to have this big personality, and try to make fun of myself before anyone else has the chance to make fun of me, because that's just a way to kind of protect myself, but it's been hard, like when people don't want to be your friend because of the way you look, or you go out, like I never really went out with friends, or to clubs or bars or anything like that, because I was always embarrassed. It's hard to be that person that is the one that holds everyone's stuff. It's hard to be the one everyone else is having fun, and so it's like when you're looked at like that, no one really takes you seriously. Like you're the fat friend, and I don't want to be the fat friend. I want to be the one that goes out there and lives life. I don't want people to look at me like that.
We're gonna go to Zen in a second, but I wanted to share with you guys, and if you've seen anything like this, you're welcome to share it, of course. It is, open chat. This is the thing that I wanted to bring up. I was watching a show the other day, and I don't remember what it was, but it was talking about people being really obese and so on and so forth, and it talked about the difference of the stigma and the judgment that's put between men and women. And they did a study on this, and when guys were talked about that were overweight, they would say things like, "Oh, he's got a football player's build. He's husky. He's big boned. He's huggable. He's cuddly." And in the same sense, when they did the survey with people talking about women that were overweight, honestly, the things that came out were, "She's a fat slob. That's disgusting. Look at her. It makes me sick." These were the difference in looking at a guy that was clearly overweight or obese and how he was judged compared to a woman that was overweight being referred to as a lazy fat slob. And those were terms that were used. So it's never going to be equal, I don't think. I think women are always going to get the worst end of the stick because I think that that's what our society teaches us from a very young age, is that slim and pretty is beautiful and healthy. Okay? Zen, what about you?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Here we
I'm
go.
listening.
The question is how have you dealt with going out in public or people, you being discriminated against, people making fun of you, saying things about you, when you were heavier, or even now, just because maybe we're self-conscious and we feel like people are talking about us, but they aren't. I don't know. Zen?
Okay. Yeah. Well, how I dealt with a lot of it, I don't really know if people said things so much as I felt like some invisibility when I was at my heaviest. I felt that, a lot of that, especially at the workplace, I felt kind of invisible, and that maybe that my ideas weren't as readily accepted maybe as someone else's. And as I got thinner, I certainly saw that there was a big change in people's personality, certain people's. And in my life in general, I dealt with it with my own self-hatred, which really was more than anybody's outward thing to me, was my own self-hatred of myself for being overweight. I did a lot of isolation and just doing things with my closest friends and not really venturing out of the bubble, so to say, and just kind of just living my life and directing it toward myself and my kids, and that was pretty much it.
Okay, and Pam, what about you?
I can definitely relate to what Alicia said about being the fat friend. I was always that person, and no one wants to be that person. And also with going out, as the bigger that I got and the more people would make fun of me, like I would, for instance, I'd be like walking in Walmart, going grocery shopping, and I remember one thing specifically where these two young teenage girls were right behind me and my husband, and they were making fun of me and how like tight my pants were and how big my ass was and how much my rear end and my legs were jiggling. And I'm just like, I could hear everything they were saying. They're right behind us. It hurt. Like, I went home, I cried, I was mad. It's just, people don't think, I guess. Yeah, people are mean. And for all the things that have happened as far as, like, people making fun of me and stuff, whether it be in public or people I know or whatever, like, I stopped going swimming, I stopped wearing bathing suits, I stopped wearing shorts. I would wear long sleeve shirts and long pants year-round, even in the summertime, even if it's 100 degrees. And I would isolate myself. I'm more paranoid about like people and thinking that they're talking about me. It's just because it's happened so many times. My mind automatically goes there. So, yeah.
I think sometimes I almost wonder if we don't think more ourselves that people are talking about us or worried more about it, because when I found, like, when I was smaller, when I was closer to goal, I didn't really care what somebody saw me ordering or whatever, because I didn't feel like I was open for judgment. Now that I've put back on weight and I'm bigger and I'm noticeably overweight, I find myself being more selective. Like, if I go into a restaurant and there's a line of people instead of getting in that line, I may go to the bathroom first so that when I come back, say they're gone, and hopefully no one else has came so people don't see. My thing isn't once I have the food, consuming it, it's ordering it in front of others because I'm worried of the judgment that I may get or someone be thinking, damn, why is he eating that? I mean, look at him. And we really shouldn't worry about that, but that's easier said than done, and I don't really recall anyone. I mean, people have yelled stuff out the window at me, but it's not necessarily weight related. It could be anything related, just because. I mean, when someone's walking down the street and you see a supermodel, I mean, my God, who don't yell out, right? So I'm used to that. I'm used to that kind of thing. But it's just. I just think there's people that do it to make themselves feel better, and while they may not be struggling with a weight issue, they're struggling with other issues, obviously, because I don't think that that's normal for people to do that. Like those girls, wouldn't it have been amazing if you could have turned around and just slapped them across the face and said, what's wrong with you? I mean, what is wrong with somebody that would be right behind somebody and be making the comments knowing that the person can hear? And you know what? Sometimes it's not always best to react and lash out like that, even though you want to. But this is the thing I always say. People that are downright nasty like that, I don't care what their age is, they know that's wrong. They know that's nasty. You know what? Someday something is going to happen to someone that you love dearly, unfortunately. And just remember, maybe it's because of the way you treated someone else. That's what I was always told. So we have to be careful of doing that kind of a thing. I do want to ask you guys, and then we'll go to the comments here, what do you think is keeping you held back? What is keeping you from, because we see people that can go on and get right on and lose all their weight, they're just dedicated and focused and they can lose the weight and they can keep it off, and then we see people who lose the weight and keep it off for a little bit and gain it back. If you had to say that there was something that held you back or is keeping you from taking that step, be it mental, physical, whatever, what do you think that block is for you? Then let's start with you, because you look like you're about to fall asleep.
Well, I'm not going to fall asleep. I'm just thinking deeply. Deeply. Okay. Well, because I was thinking about that earlier today, as a matter of fact, Rob. So I think about that often, and I think that I got to one point in my journey, and I just didn't feel like I was losing weight after a certain point, and it kind of got to a certain point, and it just sort of stopped. And it didn't matter if I went to the gym for 2 hours, if I went to the gym for 1 hour, if I went to the gym for 6 days a week, if I went to the gym for 3 days a week. It didn't change. So my frustration level went through the roof, right? I felt I was eating on track, and I felt that I failed, and that it was a life sentence, that it didn't work for me. I didn't get to where I was supposed to go. So I think that was giving into that frustration after working so hard, and I don't that I turned around and just started eating crap. After that, I didn't. But over time, you know what I mean? The frustration, I think, has just pounded itself into my brain, and I'm feeling sort of like beaten down. I hate to say it, but it's true. At times, I feel like defeated. And other times, I feel really strong and powerful, like, okay, I can take this back. Okay, it's going to work this time. But in my mind, I have this doubt that says, no, you're probably just going to get to the same place you got before, and you're going to stall. And that is just, for me, was just heartbreaking, and I got to get past that, if you know what I mean, and just try it again and see if it's any different this time. Maybe try a different combination of food and vegetables, mostly protein and vegetables, or what I'm saying, shift it a little bit, see if it's going to change the result for me.
Yeah. Well, and we need to talk on another show, because sometimes we wonder, for those of us who have struggled and done it for so long, and we've tried almost everything, does there come a point where this is just where our body is unless we take a drastic measure, which isn't healthy to do? So that's another show, though, obviously. We do have Michael BSG said no life sentence here anymore. Maintaining Michelle said, more than once, kids would ask their mom, why is she so fat within earshot? And you know what? This is the thing. Depending on the age of the kids, I've seen that happen. What,
Yeah.
what, when it doesn't bother me is when the parent corrects their child. What grinds my ass more than anything is when a parent does not correct their child or even lead them to believe that that's wrong, because
Yeah.
that is wrong. And you see so many parents that don't do that. Gastric Rose said, for me, like changes. And Rose, that's a great thing to bring up, and it's so true. But there is people that are stuck in that beginning phase where they don't have the knowledge and they don't have the success yet. So it's hard for them to think about life changes when they can't even see a change on their body, or they can't go more than 2 or 3 days without falling off the wagon. So what you say, Rose, is very, very true. But it's hard to get to that point of learning the life changes. Shadow Girl 1 said, I'm here finally getting to watch a live show instead of watching it the next day. We're glad you're here. Michael BSG said, I was paroled 2 years ago from my life sentence. Loving my new freedom. Congratulations to you. How big was your check when you got out? Because you know they always give you a check when you get out of jail. Thrill by. Send us the money, Michael. Maintaining Michelle said, oh my God. Making fun of myself because I knew what everybody else was thinking anyways is exactly what she did. Gastric Rose said, my daughter just had VSG surgery today, resting now. For me, I feel like our family is getting freedom, life changes. And so we wish her the best, obviously. And those are some of the comments that came in. I left off with Zen. We still need to go to Alicia on this one, and then Pam. What do you think's holding you behind? Because you've said many times on your channel that you're really struggling, and you've been struggling. So what is the slowdown, Alicia? What's holding you back?
Well, I feel like okay, let me just say, my whole life I've dealt, like, food's always been an issue for me. It's always been like that issue, you know. I've never been able to get rid of it. Like when I would go on diets or, you know, change my plans, I never would lose weight. I would always gain more weight. I've never been one to really be able to lose weight. So this was really, having surgery was really the first time I was able to lose, you know. But the thing that comes up, especially after my first year, is just dealing with food, you know, dealing with food. And I always say that I will always be a food addict. I will always be addicted to food. There's not a time in my life, I think, that I will ever not think about food 24 hours a day. It just, I mean, it just happens like that for me. So I think for me, I'm so used to being big that I do feel like, in a way, I'm scared of what it's like not to be big, if that makes any sense. Like I don't know, I'm scared of being a normal size, you know. I'm scared of like, for instance, I was at the store today, and I'm gonna be honest, I still sometimes use those motorized carts because I got to the point where I was just so used to using them, you know. And there's times where the store is still, it feels too big. It feels like I'm like the store is just so humongous that I won't be able to make it around the store. So I do use those. And I had said something to one of the guys to help me get one, and he looked at me and he stopped for a minute and he couldn't understand why I needed one. And it was at that moment that I realized that I'm not 500 pounds anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I still look at myself, Rob. I still think about that day that you sent me that ring. Like, I still that, and I think about that all the time, about the day that you sent me that ring, because I was under 500 pounds, and I still feel like I'm I'm there. And I guess it was today seeing someone else that I don't even know them. They look at me and they're like, why do you need that? Like, why do you need that? So I never really thought, I guess I'm just scared to be something that I've never been before.
Well, and I think it's about learning because now that that's happened, next time you go into a store, if you need a card, absolutely take one. But you'll remember that. You'll remember that someone else looked at you and thought, "Why does she need a card?" And
Yeah.
that's got to be an amazing feeling that you're probably thinking, "Why are you worried about if I need a card?" So I understand how it goes both ways, but I think that in a way is a compliment, and you should
No,
look at
it is.
it.
It is a huge.
Have one. Yeah.
I mean, it is a huge compliment. I had to sit back and think about it and was like, I guess so.
Nadine weighed in and said, I was always the fat friend and my best friend was a model. Been there, done that, Nadine. I'm telling you right now. Only I was the model. Only I was the model, sweetheart. It was never fun that the guys paid attention to her and I was just looked at as a buddy. I know that feeling too. I've had friends that because they have a different physical image than I have, I felt like they were getting attention versus me, and that does suck. I mean, who wouldn't think that sucks? But thanks for sharing that, Nadine, and thanks for watching. We're going to go to Pam in a second, but I do want to share. Gastric Rose said, for me, it was hard to teach students that were cruel. I would kill them with kindness. Some hated it, yet others are growing today and have thanked me for just loving them after them being so mean to their fat teacher. Rose has an amazing story. If you haven't seen it, go over and check out her channel. But just an amazing person along with her sister. And now she said her daughter's had surgery today. So like I said, we're all praying for them. But you guys go ahead and feel free to keep your comments coming, keep your questions if you want to ask them, and we'll get to those. We have one more person to get to with this question. Go ahead and take a drink. Here we go.
It's just water
here. Bailey's going to get a drink now.
All right.
I'm sure that's all that's in that bottle.
Well, yeah.
We might have a little vodka in there, right, just for a kicker.
Right. Got to get me through this show.
That's right. What do you think is keeping you behind, Pam, if anything? I mean, for some people, they don't feel like they're behind. They feel like they're where they're supposed to be.
I feel like right now in this moment, I'm in a really good place, and I'm kind of getting started again, restarting, whatnot. I'm on track right now. But I talked about this a couple shows ago, the one where I was like an emotional ball of goo, where I feel like I'm my own worst enemy. We kind of all are sometimes to ourselves. And I get in my own head, and I'm stubborn, and I don't like to deal with emotional stuff. And it just piles up, and my cup gets too full, and it overflows. And my biggest problem is just me standing in my own way. And I am working through that and have really kind of come to terms with specifics in the last couple of months as to why. But I'm in a good place right now, and hopefully I can stay in a good place.
That's awesome. And just from the short time that I've known you here on the show, I've definitely noticed a difference in your interaction with the cast and just the show in general. So that's amazing. For me, I think what's holding me back is really myself, because there's times where I've got tired of the struggle. I thought I'm at a point where I can, I got this. We've all been, I got this. I don't need to worry about it. I can eat what I want. That's not the truth, and it's never going to be the truth. I might be able to get away with that for a day. But what happens with me is a day becomes a week, and then a month, and then I say, I got to lose that 12 pounds I gained. Well, then before you know it, you're up 25, and then you're up 40. And so it's this battle. And for me, I got to not make excuses for myself, and I have to take responsibility, because taking responsibility is learning from the mistakes. But if you're just saying you're learning from the mistakes but knew nothing to change it, then you're kind of just sitting there idle. And I think there was times this past year where I plain didn't give a shit. I didn't care. I didn't want to care. Maybe I didn't have enough stake in the game, so to say. I wasn't doing things to better my health or better myself. I had challenges. I had things happen in my life, terrible things. Everybody does. They may be at different levels. Doesn't matter, you know. The fact of the matter is if I'm being 100% honest, I didn't deal with some of the things the right way that I should have, and the consequence falls to me. So, you know, I can make an excuse for anything that I've done, but the fact of the matter is that the consequence is still there. By making an excuse, the consequence doesn't go away. It's still there, and the consequence is in not being as healthy, and also poundage, weight on us. That's a consequence for, you know, piss poor actions and not doing what I should have done. I'm the first one to step up. I'm where I'm at right now with my regain because of me, the choices that I made. Maybe some of the choices I was in a bad position or whatever, doesn't matter. You know, I still could have pulled myself out of that, and I just didn't, because at the time, and being 100% honest, I didn't care. Okay, so I'm in a better place now, you guys. Daddy's going to be making a video here in the next couple of days. It's going to be off the chain, so that's going to be out for the public. So, Alicia, you said that we had a question come in on the commercial that you made. Why don't you go ahead and read that question if you have it handy?
Yeah. Okay. So it's from Sherry Revision, and she said, for many years, I had resigned myself to that notion that I would always be super morbidly obese, but there was a little part I like to call the light in my life that would not settle for that. It was a flame that never died, even when my motivation did. And it was a spirit that caused me to keep picking up the torch to a better lifestyle. What has been your motivation not to give up?
Okay. Why don't we start with Zen? Zen, what's been your motivation not to give up? What's keeping you going here, besides that mound of hair you got on your head?
Wow. It's fake. No, just pull it off.
Take the wig off, sweetie.
What's that?
I said take the wig off.
Oh, yeah.
I love your hair.
I can't. Okay, well, my hair has made full. It's come full circle. It went to where there's like none left, and so it took 3 years to come back. So my question is my motivation.
Hold on. Zen, this is not a Vidal Sassoon commercial. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
Zen.
Well, just, you know, supermodels get carried away. Okay, just like Daddy.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to sit up there and pontificate, but I will come down with the actual reasons. What keeps me motivated is my desire to be different, my desire to live the life that I once had, the desire to wear whatever I want, within reason, okay? Desire to feel light and breezy when I do exercise instead of like heavier and like a harder movement. It's so much easier when you're lighter to do a lot of the different exercises. And you feel so much better when you're in place. I remember that very clearly. So that's one of the things that motivates me. And I just feel better. I have a lot more energy. I'm a pretty high energy person anyway, usually. But the more lethargic I am, and that I, you know, when I don't work out and I don't eat properly, I feel more and more lethargic and less energy, and I like energy. And so those are some of the things that motivate me, and I want to reach my goal. That is a burning flame in my heart.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with my hair, okay?
Okay, if you say so. Pam, what about you? Same question to you from the viewer. What viewer asked that question real quick, Alicia?
It was Sherry Revision.
Cherry what?
Revision.
Great question, Cherry Revision. Go ahead, Pamela.
Okay, my motivation would be, I mean, I want to feel good and whatnot. I want to feel healthy. I want to be able to like physically do whatever I want to do. But me and my husband, we want to have a family, and I want to be able to run around and chase and play with my kids and not just sit there on the couch or like whatever, and not like be able to interact with them. And that's, even though I don't have kids yet, like that's probably my biggest motivator right now.
Okay, Alicia, what about you?
Just, I've spent most of my life like sitting around, not living, not getting out there and experiencing life. And so just being able to get up and go, and one thing that really motivates me is that I can share my story of what I went through with other people, and having other people say thank you, you've helped me, really gets me motivated to just, I guess, to hopefully not, to show other people that anything's possible, and it motivates me to live today for today, and not worry about what happened yesterday. And I've had a lot of bad stuff happen to me in my life, but we all have, we all have. And I just want to live life. Like, I just really have this like thirst to live my life how I want to live it.
Great answer. Awesome. Alicia, what is the actual question? Because between Zen's hair show and Pam flipping her hair around, and you, I need to
What
hear.
has been the motivation not to give up? And
Uh,
yes, this show today was brought to you by Vidal Sassoon.
I guess so. Shelley Revision, that is a great question, and I'm going to answer that by simply saying, at times I feel like I have given up. I really, really do. I'm being 100% honest. I feel like, I threw in the towel and I thought, well, maybe I can just accept myself the way that I am. Maybe this is how I'm meant to be. But when the dust settles, I realize that that's not really true. And it's not about the size. I feel like, oh, I'm big. I'm not supposed to be this way. But I just don't. At this weight, I don't feel good. I can't do things, and I don't think that that's the way it's meant to be for me. I don't think that that's what God's plan or whatever anyone else believes how they got here, but I believe in God. So I don't believe that that's God's plan for me. I feel like I'm put here for a purpose, and I feel like right now, I feel like I'm sick. I don't want to say mentally, and I don't want to say physically. I just feel like I don't. I felt like I haven't had the motivation in a long time, and that I did stall out, and that I haven't done the right things and made the right choices. And I'm also come to a point where I'm going to put that behind me. And yet again, here it is a Monday, and you know what? I started fresh. But I struggled through the holidays. I struggled before the holidays. I struggled all summer. I've had some losses. I've had gains. But all last year, and all I can do is really try to focus now on eating healthy again and being active and exercising. And what's going to keep me motivated right now is, in all honesty, it's a new year, and I think it's time for change. And I hope that I can carry that on more than 2 or 3 months in my way of thinking. I hope over the next several weeks I can start to change my mind to change my life like I did before, because I know it's something I can do. I know I can do it. So I just have to buckle down and take those steps. So that's an amazing question, and thank you for asking it.
Can I say, Rob, I know that since day one, since I came across you, I've met you, I see how you're such a big part of this community, and how you've motivated so many people to just to get up and move forward. And I think that has been amazing. And you know, and it's like I see you fight. Like you fight, you fall down, and then you go away for a little bit, and you come back and you come hard. And you know, it's just something that I want to say is that, you know, I hope that we can be motivators for you too, like
Yeah.
you've been to us.
Well, thank you, Alicia. And you know, the community is motivating to me. And this morning, I got up and I put on, for a lot of people, they may not know, but I lost my dad. My dad was a huge part of my journey. And I lost my dad in August of 2012. And my dad passed away unexpectedly. And I had ordered these Keeping It Real bands and when I started my journey, and I gave these out, I gave over 1,200 of these bands out. Okay, I sent them to people, and um, I had um, I had the first band, and my dad had the second band. Well, when my dad died, I was going to finish this. My dad was so proud of me, and within 10 months, you guys, I'd lost 92 pounds, and I'd lost it by eating and exercise and that kind of a thing. So my dad was so proud of me, and he still is. He's not proud or unproud because of my weight. And I know from heaven he's looking down on me and he's proud. But long story short, I took my Keeping It Real bracelet off, and I buried that with my dad, and I took my dad's Keeping It Real bracelet. But I never put his bracelet on until today because I felt like I had lost my way on this journey and that I wasn't doing things that would make him proud. And it was those feelings. And then yesterday I thought, you know what? I have to do this. I have to need that motivation again. And while I know my dad is with me all the time, having his bracelet on and wearing it and putting it on the hand that I eat with, it's really helped me today. It's made me stay focused and it's made me push forward. And I just hope that the bracelet can continue to provide that for me. Now I know I'm the one doing the work, but mentally it helps me because I know this was the bracelet that my dad had on his wrist from the day that I sent it to him, you know, until the night before he died when he took it off before he went to bed. So, and I picked it up from the place that he put it when he went to bed that night when I got to my parents' house. So I feel like I'm in the right direction. I feel good. I have an exciting new plan for myself. And you guys, I feel like I'm doing good. So Alicia, thank you for those amazing comments. It really does mean something to me. And I hope to continue to give back to the community also and get support from the community. Do any of you guys have a question or something you want to throw out regarding living fat? Did I get a life sentence? Maybe just something you want to ask all of us, or even the viewers can weigh in. Then you always got something to say. What's going on?
Yeah, no, I do.
Okay,
well,
go ahead.
Regarding the life sentence, I wanted to know what is the biggest motivating thing that you just talked about yours, Rob. But I mean, in general, guys, what is your biggest motivating factor here for the upcoming start of the new year? What are you going to focus on yourselves in order to get you to where you need to, the momentum needed to begin for this month?
Let's start with Pam. Pam?
Okay. I have a half marathon that I'm going to do in March with my sister-in-law, Gabby. And that, I'm so not ready for it, but I'm getting ready for it now. And I guess that's a big motivator for me. And I mean, that's going to help me lose weight. It's going to help me get into shape. And that's my main focus right now.
Awesome. Alicia and Zen.
I think for me, I'm really, right now, I'm kind of motivated to figure out what I want to do in life. It's a shame that I didn't start 20 years ago, but you know, I feel like for the last 20 years I've been just sitting around not doing anything, not living, and so I feel like so much has opened up for me, and that I really can do anything, you know, and it's like, so I guess it's just figuring out what it is that I want to do. I mean, my son is grown, he's 19, and so, you know, obviously he'll always be my baby, but, you know, he's an adult now, and so for the first time in my life, it's all about me, and that's kind of scary, but exciting at the same time because I know that there's so much that I can do. So I guess this year, you know, my motivation is just figure out what I want to do.
Awesome. Zen, what about you?
Well, what I want to do for the first part of the month is just focus, real careful focus on my food. Again, focus on what it is I'm taking in, and of course, keeping the exercise going. I think that over the holiday month, I'm not sure that I really gained, but I know I didn't lose. And I'm dealing with a 20-pound regain from my lowest point, and I have another 10 pounds below that to get to my goal. And I really want to get to my goal this year. So I'm going to do the best I can to see if I can get back those 20 pounds off, see if my body is going to go there. I know it'll get some of it, but whether I can get all of it back to where I was, and then 10 more, I mean, that's a big thing to bite off. So I'm just focusing on small increments, 10 pounds at a time. That's how I'm going to start.
That sounds like a great plan and a great way to go. Michael BSG says, food has always been an issue for me and continues to be an issue for me. I am a food addict too. And Michael, I know what you struggle with, but you have done well, and you do, you know, you look good, and it looks like you try to stay on top of things. So congratulations to you. Tina Prairie Princess 1 says, I never thought my morbid obesity was a life sentence for me, and I have worked hard and have never taken back the control of my life and trying not to let food rule my life. I know it's a lifelong process. I have lost 175 pounds and have maintained that. Even though I am not at goal, I will never give up. Tina Prairie Princess 1, you know, one of my best friends, obviously, so I always support her, and she looks amazing, and she's an amazing person in person, and Tina works hard, and she continues to, and she struggles like a lot of us with those last 20, 30 pounds like Zen was just talking about. I mean, it's just that huge mountain to get over, and, you know, I felt that struggle when I was sitting 3 to 8 pounds from goal, and by 3 to 8 pounds, I simply mean a range. And I was so close to that. And within, you know, months, that's completely gone, and now the struggle is back on to get to that point. But I can't look at what it could have been or where I was at, because where I was at then is sure the hell where I'm not at now. So I gotta focus on now and just address the issue that we have and where we're at. That's all we can do. Go ahead, Zen.
I said that's true, and you know, the more that we fight it, we just have to keep fighting, and we can't let that blip on the radar where we ate that donut or we had that piece of cheesecake or half a piece of cheesecake that made us sick, in my case, or whatever it was. We can't let that just derail us and start that mental process of, oh, I fucked up, oh, I feel bad about myself, and that whole thing starts swirling in your head. At least it does in mine. And I kind of just think, you know, I got to stop this. I got to stop this thinking. I got to stop this constant train of food thinking. And that getting back to the fuel and thinking of it as fuel, and stop just stop the voices in my head that talk about food. Stop talking about food. Start just doing more than, you know what I mean, than trying to take that control back of my mind. And because sometimes I start thinking about like sweet stuff, it'll be like, oh yeah, that sounds good. Ooh, a little coconut on that sounds good. You know? And I got to get away from that thinking.
You know that that protein drink that you drink, that Rocket Refuel or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
They have that at Walmart in the half-gallon container now.
Ooh, is it the muscle builder?
Yeah. Well,
they make
it has like all kinds of protein and stuff in it, but it's a big said it can, the almond milk comes in.
Okay, well, I'll check it out because one of them has very high carbs, and the one that's called Muscle Builder is the one that has very low carbs in comparison. So that's
Okay.
the only one that I would entertain. Period.
Well, you can entertain that at your local Walmart. I think it was around, I think it was around $6.
Just saying.
Michael BSG said, Pam, I am with you on that. I was always my worst enemy and stud in my own way. Sherry Revision said, thanks, Rob. One of the things that motivates me now more than ever is seeing before and after. I just took a new selfie today and was shocked. And that does help. I think the side-by-sides help, but also seeing side-by-sides of other people or watching the videos on YouTube, that can motivate because you're thinking, oh my God, you know, I may not be those people, but if they can do it, I know I can do it. So I think side-by-sides of yourself especially, but even other people are an amazing way to push forward and motivate, for sure. Shadow Girl 1 says, I'm currently reading a book about emotional eating, and I'm only halfway through the book, but wow. When I'm reading it, I stop and think, did someone record my thoughts? This book is amazing. My therapist recommended it, and I am so thankful. When I finish reading it, I'm planning on making a video about it. It really is a great book. I can't wait to share more about it. And that is Shadow Girl, and it's G-U-R, and then the number 1. So there's different ways we can all motivate ourselves, but thanks everybody for weighing in tonight. Thanks for sharing your viewpoints and opinions, asking questions. And Alicia, do you have a question, or did you do a question and Pam didn't do a question? Who didn't do a question?
I did a question.
Okay.
She didn't do a question.
Pam, do you see? Pam, you trying to break the moderator. Now you trying to break my flow.
Right.
Pam, do you have a question or just a thought to throw out there that we can all spin off of? Because I want to give you a chance.
Can I have a second?
Yeah, you can have a second. And
you have a second.
You can have a second, and what I will do is I want to ask this because I think it's important. And again, if it's about swear words or whatever, then you can use them. But I want to know the worst thing that anyone has ever said to you personally. Okay, whether it was behind your back or in front of you, you know, that kind of a thing. What is the worst thing that's ever been said to you about your weight that you can remember? Let's start with Miss Beautiful Alicia. Alicia, what's the worst thing that's ever been shouted out, said to you, something to this effect?
Well, I mean, you know, most of it has been online. I guess there's been a few things. Obviously, I've been called all kinds of, cows and pigs and all kinds of farm animals and stuff, but but I think the worst thing that has ever been said to me, and it's really hard, but and I just couldn't imagine someone saying this to another human being, but I've been told on YouTube before that I'm so fat and disgusting that I should go and kill myself.
Pretty bad.
And that's really hard. Like, I couldn't imagine, even my worst enemy, the person that I, just didn't get, I could never imagine saying that to another human being. And it actually did really cause me a lot of, I cried about it. And I know Chris, he was like, why are you crying? You don't even know this person. But I may not know them, but just those, like, words hurt. They hurt, Yeah.
The thing I would always caution people about, and I understand what you're saying, though, because it hits you at the moment. Mm-hmm. When somebody says something to you personally or is in your face or in a car on a corner and they say something, that's face-to-face contact. That takes a lot of hoops to me for someone to do something like that. Really takes a lot of, I'm not saying they're not a loser, but they're doing it. When people hide behind these channels and these Facebook channels and they say these stupid-ass things, but yet they can't come forward or ever say it to you, or I don't know. I just look at that as a bunch of cowards behind a screen sitting there with nothing better to do. And I really give it very little weight, if any, when I'm dealing with it. But everybody deals with those things different. But it's definitely something somebody shouldn't have said. And they're just probably a loser and they're trash and they have nothing better to do. So I guess that's how I would look at it. But
well, I mean, and I've always, like, known that there was, people out there who just, they're mean. They're just mean and stuff. But I guess something like that, I never expected someone to say something that cruel, I don't know. Yeah. I guess you expect it, when you make videos, you expect someone to say something, because someone's always going to say something, but yeah.
Then what about you?
I think the meanest thing someone said was, they asked me if I was pregnant.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they mean it in a mean way?
I wasn't.
Did they mean it in a mean way, or did they honestly not know?
No, they probably thought that I was, and I'm thinking, I guess I look young, but just saying. I had to take it as a compliment, you know me. Yeah. But no, I think I just told them, I just drank too much beer, and I don't even drink beers. But I just made some remark back to him, like, hey, no, I'm not pregnant, I just drink too much beer. So, yeah.
Pam, what about you?
I mean, it wasn't a...
Okay, she's pro. So, Pam, what about you?
Sorry. Well, since I started making YouTube videos, there has been some people that have said things to me. I mean, it's usually, I guess, like trolls or whatever, because it's like they don't have any videos up. They don't, have even like a profile picture or anything. Right. I don't want to like say what they've said, but one of the meanest things that was ever said to my face was I think I was in like late elementary school or like somewhere in middle school, and I had someone not babysitting but kind of like watching me over the summer so I wouldn't get into trouble. And anyway, she had an older son, and we were in the backyard and we were going to go swimming, and I had a bathing suit on, and he was making fun of my butt and my legs, just like those girls I was talking about earlier. And he said something along the lines of like, fat, nasty C word. And I'm like, I'd never even heard the C word before. And to be in someone's home that, like, you're supposed to like be able to trust that person and the people around you, it was, I don't know, just really messed up. But yeah.
That's crazy. And you know what? I haven't had a lot of flack when it comes to that kind of a thing regarding my weight. I'm sure people have made fun of it. But, if it's a stranger or something, I really could give a shit less because I don't know them. If I heard a family member or a friend or something say something negative about me, that would hurt. I'm not going to lie. That would upset me because they were doing it behind my back and I just happened to overhear it. But I will share a story real quickly. I'll try to go to A to Z as quick as I can. When I was at the office, this agent had came in and she brought her grandson. Now, her grandson's cute and everything, don't get me wrong, but he is a brat. I ain't gonna lie, okay? He is a brat. So he came in, it was nice to him, I was talking with him, he was eating McDonald's, he was doing all this stuff. Well, it's a Saturday and I went into work and I was putting some mail into the mail slots for agents for mail that had came. And he came up to me and he's probably 4.5, and he hits my stomach and goes, "Why are you so big?" Okay, now he's a kid, so I wasn't upset. What annoyed me was his mother, or his grandmother, who's the agent there, didn't say one word to him. Okay, we'll say the kid's name is Troy. She didn't say, "Troy, you don't say that to somebody. That hurts their feelings. You don't say that, honey." She didn't say one word to him. She laughed. She just laughed and said, "Charlie, come on." Charlie, Troy, whatever you want to call him. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, you just outed him.
That's not his real name.
Okay.
I'm sure that 4-year-old's watching.
It's not his real name. But I'm sure his grandma isn't watching either, and I don't care if she was, because she probably wouldn't be able to put it together, to be honest. But, so So, but my thing was why wouldn't you say something as the adult to this child and say, oh, honey, you can't say something like that about someone. That's not nice.
Not only
And
that, you get whacked in your belly.
I simply said to him, which I didn't have that big of a belly, to be honest. I said to him, I go, it's because I eat too much McDonald's like you are. That's what I said to him. So I kind of threw it back.
Still, I'm
But
wrong.
you know what? Tonight is Pam's lucky night because Pam got out of a question, okay? But she's gonna be having a question for us next week. And let me tell you guys what our topic is next week. Because next week is our season 1 finale. There's no break. So next week is January the 5th, and our show will be called Who's Fucked Up, America or Me? And we picked this topic because there is so many times we think we're the problem or there's something wrong with us. But is it really us, or is it the things around us, or might it be a combination of both? Because there's all the conspiracy theories about America and the food and what they're putting in it and the pill, making people get on pills and all different stuff. So we're going to have an amazing season finale for you next week. And again, it's Who's Fucked Up, America or Me? So excuse the French, but we are bilingual here on the show. And then season 2 of Real Talk starts January 12th, the immediate following Monday. There is no break on this show, so we'll be going right from a season 1 finale to a season 2 opener, and we are super excited for the season to come. So you guys, without further ado, we thank you for watching the show. We thank you for your comments. We thank you for your questions, participating with us, and we look forward to seeing you Monday. Be sure to join us. It's going to be an amazing show that you do not want to miss. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel. Thank you.
Oh, I do want to say one more thing. Don't forget.
There we go. You messed up my smooth ending, so when she's done, I got to do another ending. Go ahead, Alicia.
You know what? Everyone needs to go over, and we're gonna be on another show. I have to give ourselves a shout out. We are going to be on oh my gosh, right?
The Naked Truth.
The Naked. Look, I don't even know what I'm saying now. No, we're gonna be on the Naked Truth on Sunday, with Jennifer and Lacey. So come and watch us there, and come watch us embarrass ourselves.
Yes, it will be fun. Lacey and I are going to be on The Naked Truth on Sunday, January 4th, and then January 5th you will see us here on Real Talk for an amazing show. Like I said, you're not going to want to miss it. We need your interaction, you guys. Make sure you show up and let us know what you feel about the topic we'll be discussing. Take care, everyone. Have an amazing evening.
Bye.